promised I wouldn't cry. Ugh. Hey, everybody. Well, no, I'm red. Look at me. I look like a damn radish. Um, hey, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Nightmare Road. I, of course, am one of your hosts, Decon, here with the very fabulous.
SOS, and here with the very dark and mysterious
Haywire, and the government spy,
Dirty Birdie.
Dirty Birdie.
Dirty Bird.
He forgot his identity for a minute there. He's like, what did they tell me my
He's
name
like,
was?
wait a minute, I gotta come up with
They
another
ratted
one.
me out.
They ratted me.
I got plenty of nicknames. I can change it.
Jeez.
Haywire, what are we talking about tonight?
Tonight we are talking about spirit photography, but I wanted to lead in with Kirlian photography because I think it's a good midpoint that kind of takes us from science to metaphysics, kind of. So
Okay.
this photography was discovered in 1939 by Dr. Kirlian, and immediately it was kind of just like ridiculed and pushed to the side. And then during the 70s, it saw a spike, and UCLA was really studying Kirlian photography at that time. But it's like, okay, I'll try and describe it as best I can with the picture. But basically, you have a couple of plates, and you take pictures of these electric waves, basically, that your body or other things emit off. It's really cool. So, like, if you have your fingerprints on, there's like these blue halos around them. They're called the corneas, I think. And basically, what they were researching is what it would be useful for. At first, they were using it to see like live things versus things that aren't alive, which is like very obvious. You don't need photography
So,
for
like
that.
for the younger person and the elderly.
Or, no, like dead people and the young people.
Okay.
I don't
You know.
explain that to me though. I'm not following you.
Yeah, I'll try.
Okay.
Basically, what they were finding is with these pictures, it shows like a biofield, or people thought it was showing someone's aura. So when they were doing these studies, when someone was mad, the ring around the finger that would appear in the photo would be smaller versus when they were happy, or they even had a lot of people test out like how drunk they were. The drunker they got, the bigger this glow would get. So they were using it for that. They were
Is
using
it body heat thing?
Huh?
So is it body heat?
Now we think it is actually moisture that gives off. So when you get really excited about something, your body produces more sweat. And so that's what they think now is happening.
I am
but back then,
so
they thought it
moist
was
right now.
Oh
So
God.
Dude,
moist.
don't go. No.
No. Oh, God.
What happened?
Okay.
That
You know-
word was ruined by the internet 2 years ago.
Jeez, dude, come on. Really? Come on. I see, this is
Okay,
why I don't
so-
open up to you guys.
Another thing they would find is with rats, they would put their tails on, and the ones with cancer, the pattern would be very erratic, and the ones that didn't have cancer, the pattern would be very straight or narrow. The big experiment with this that is really popular is they would take leaves and cut the leaves and put it back down on the plate, and you would see the outline of the leaf that was cut off.
Oh, I remember seeing something about that.
Yeah, and so for a long time they had no idea how that was happening, and so a lot of people thought this was proof that, you know, your biofield or aura stays with you no matter what happens. I think they've proven it now to either be moisture left behind or double exposure in the pictures. But it was really big, and it's kind of what's led into aura photography. When I got certified in Reiki, they used those pictures to show like when someone was not using Reiki energy versus when they were using Reiki energy. And of course, when they were, the pictures were like more brilliant or kind of prettier. So it's kind of used to show
That's
kind of stuff.
interesting.
Yeah.
Right now, you should see my aura. It's just great.
It's
Oh,
just red.
it's just
Rage.
it's just, no, I'm not. I'm not even.
Rage.
Yeah, I guess now I'm getting it. You guys are looking at me so in such a way that now my aura is turning red.
Radish red.
I am becoming
Radish red.
enraged so much that my face is reflecting that. I am a mood ring.
You are.
I don't need a mood ring. That's for damn sure.
Oh man, good. I wish, like, if I had like a wish, like I'll give you one wish. You know, it would be that whenever I got angry, like super angry, I can make like a cartoon steam just come out of my ears, so then people will be like, "I think he's pretty pissed off," and I'll just be, you know, I'll be here. I'll be here all night, guys.
Yeah.
Okay.
So you called it curly. What was it called?
Curlian, so Cirlian, I think. I probably spelled that totally wrong.
Carillion?
Well, it's really interesting. I do remember seeing something about this with that leaf thing. It was the leaf thing. As soon as you said that, I'm like, yeah, I remember reading something about that years ago.
Yeah.
It was really fascinating.
It's really popular because it was kind of where science and metaphysics kind of met. I think they took pictures supposedly of a soul leaving a body, which has been proven to be double exposure, I think. But it's kind of just that middle ground before you get into spirit photography. Some of them use Polaroids to take the pictures. A lot of the times it's digital now. It's really interesting to look at, and the artwork's beautiful. I wish I could post it without infringing on copyright because a lot of these pictures are really cool.
I could make one up of just me with like steam coming out of my ear. No, that whole thing with the soul leaving the body and how that was debunked. That wasn't really debunked as double. What happened was they said that this could be double exposure.
Yeah.
And then when they said that, then people are like, "Oh, see, it was debunked." So I don't know. I don't know.
That's the same thing with the leaf. Like a lot of people say it was debunked, but I mean, we don't know. I am
going to put an image up because it doesn't say. And I just lost you guys. Where do you guys go?
We're just hiding. We're still here.
We're here. SOS.
We're here.
We're trapped in the interwebs.
All right, I'm going to show you this. This is an image.
I'm back. It's Joe Biden. It's me, Joey B. Anyways.
Watch out for stairs.
Uh-oh.
Okay.
You'll watch my spirit leaving my body.
Because I can't see.
I can't see anything.
Oh. Okay, well, it's trying to
coming.
All I see is
it's trying. Oh, there we go.
There we go.
Yeah.
I don't see anything.
Yeah, that's really, really fascinating.
Oh, okay, I see it now.
Yeah, and so the blue is what you can really see, like with people's emotions, either shrink. So if someone's anxious, it'll get really tiny, and then if someone's like really happy, it'll get really large. And if someone's really angry, the blue will just cover the whole thing. It's actually really cool to look at.
Yeah, that looks like what one of my cousins had when he went to spring break, and then he's like, "Hey, look at this weird rash I have," and that's exactly what it looked like.
Oh.
You looked though, Decon. That's the important point there.
Well,
you looked at the rash.
Yeah, well, well, I did. I mean, it was in reality, it was just a test of loyalty. Like, let's see if you really love
me. That's what it was.
Yeah.
All right.
It looked like somebody going Super Saiyan, except instead of yellow, it's blue.
What?
Yeah, it reminds me of those orbs that were really popular in the early 2000s, like when you would put your fingertips on and then it would do that little ring with the electricity going through. That's what I thought of the whole time.
Oh, plasma globe.
We use those on the investigation. Yeah.
Super Saiyan.
Okay. Yeah.
What is a Super
Saiyan?
What is a Super Saiyan, sir?
Oh, God. It's going to take way too long to explain.
Okay, we need a whole new podcast.
It's an old anime.
Oh,
I once knew a girl, her name was Anime Peterson. She was from the South. She was actually, really popular in the trailer park. Anyways.
So let's get into then spirit photography, right? So the earliest known photographs were taken, well, not spirit photography, but in America, right?
Yeah.
It was Civil War era.
Yes.
And it became just this huge thing, obviously. as soon as photography hit the world, it just took off. But spiritualists started kind of using this to show
Uh-oh.
what?
You did,
We lost you there for a second.
Me?
Yep.
where is she?
Chloe,
Oh,
go away.
there you are. You're back. Hey,
Am I back?
yeah, you're back. You were gone. We were saying very nice things about you.
I heard you. I thought I was here because I saw me in
Oh,
the screen. That's
oh,
weird.
yeah, we're all just schizophrenic.
Mm.
Um, okay, so
So
go.
go ahead.
Okay,
Go ahead.
so what was the name? Do you happen to have the name of the guy that was famous for his spirit photography? Um,
Well, so there
Which
was
one?
William
uh,
Mumler and William Hope.
no-
Um,
wait, what was the first one?
Mumler.
Yes, Mumbler. Okay, okay, this dude was amazing because, all right, so he was able to take a random person, be like, you over there, and they're like, yeah, I would like to take a photograph because I have a certain feeling, and then people are like, oh, okay. So then he would take his photograph, the big thing with that looks like a birdhouse would blind you, and you're like, ah. And then once like the photograph was like exposed, that took like a decade and like millions of dollars. Once that happened, you know, the person in the picture that was with him was a family member that is like, this looks just like my uncle that died 20 to 30 years ago. And
Cousin. It was his cousin.
was it cousin or was it an uncle? Cousin.
Yeah, it was his female cousin.
And that's probably weird back then. Anyways, so this guy, I mean, he welcomed experts of all kinds, because, okay, so either this guy was what he said he was, or he was just like extremely delusional because this guy would welcome famous photographers, experts in photography. I mean, he had the guy that, would shoot things for Broadway come over and analyze his work. He'd have him watch him. Sorry, am I getting a feedback here?
No.
I'm not getting
Okay,
feedback.
it sounds like somebody's like trying to kidnap me on my end. Looks like I have something muffled in reverse. Anyway, so this guy welcomed experts and he would have them watch him like do all these photographs and all kinds of different things. And, you know, these were credible people too. And then they're kind of like, I don't see any trickery here. And he was taken to court a couple of times for the potential of trickery, but he was always like acquitted because they would bring in experts and they would watch him do these things. And there was nothing fraudulent. And he could actually like, and it wasn't like nowadays when somebody can look at like your information online. It's like, okay, this guy has a grandmother that passed, and this is what she looked like. So tell that Mexican over there to put on this white wig and this dress, and then you know what I mean. So random people would walk into his shop, and they would get. And back then, holy shit, back then to take a photograph, it was $10. Okay, and we're like $10, but it would be the equivalent of like 120 to almost $200 nowadays. So people would walk in. So people would walk into a store and they want a photograph, and then they would take and everyone. And he also talked about how he would prepare certain people, like, okay, just be prepared when this photo, and then the picture would become, exposed, and then it was somebody that they knew, like, whoa. But then, and this is one of the guys that I feel like maybe this guy was onto something, or he was somehow was really good at faking things. But I don't know.
Well, the first photographs, like in 1939, they said that they used I don't know how to pronounce this, daguerreotype. I can't pronounce it. It's a kind of process where the image was developed directly from an exposure plate.
Yes.
And so it was really hard to do any trickery with that plate.
Yes.
The original plates that they used. But it did require long exposure. So let me show you something here. When you do a long exposure, if you get
I'm gonna
Any movement.
expose myself right now. I'm gonna take my jacket off.
Yeah, let's not. So if you
Yeah.
get any movement, like this gal probably sat down and had her arms in motion. So
Yep.
it's gonna that long exposure is gonna show that movement. And so if you do that, even sometimes with digital photography, that motion will be, if you're in a darkened room, even a digital like your camera, it will take a longer exposure. It knows that automatically without you having to do an f-stop like on a 35 millimeter.
Oh
Okay.
yeah. To touch on the mumler subject, his wife at the time, they met in the studio that he was doing his experiments with,
Oh, jeez.
and his wife Hannah was a trained photographer. She knew what she was doing, and the owner of the studio, Helen F. Stewart, who invented this technique, would do all that stuff. So Hannah claimed that she was a psychic. She would drag people off the street, especially like maybe after a funeral or something like that. And she's like, "Oh, yeah, yeah, I can feel your pain. If you want to, like, take a picture and you could see your loved ones, just sit here." And they take the picture, right? Mumler would take the picture, give her the negative or whatever it was. She would manipulate it somehow to make it look like the loved one was sitting above, like, next to him or something like that, and then print it out. Now, during the court cases where he was going up for fraud, none other than P.T. Barnum
Yeah.
pressed charges against him for fraud under the guise of, what was it? Pain and, like taking advantage of people's pain and suffering from someone's death.
Foolery. Is it?
And he even brought in a photo of Abraham Lincoln's head, like over here on this side, because there was a really famous photo
I have
of
the
Mary Lincoln Todd sitting in a chair, and Abraham Lincoln was standing above her with his arm on her shoulder. So
let me
he
show
reproduced that somehow
Well,
and brought it to court. And then Mumler was like, "Oh no, it wasn't me. It was the ghosts." Yeah, that one.
you.
okay, that picture, the one, man, she was ugly. Um, oh, what? So
Huh. Yeah.
that picture with Abraham Lincoln, that was not the first photograph that he took. The first one that he took only had the hand. Later, many years later, that the whole Abraham Lincoln thing appeared behind her. We got so the thing with P.T. Barnum, you got to remember that he took him to
He
court.
was a shady
Well,
businessman too.
yeah, well, this is what's crazy. What's crazy is that P.T. Barnum, he called it off. But remember, they also brought in experts and they acquitted him because later he can actually, people could watch him do what he was doing. And then there was like, well, this guy isn't. So with me, it's like either he really believed it or there was something going on. But with P.T. Barnum, remember that after um, that whole thing happened, he had his own spirit photographer that would take pictures of people on his show. So what he wanted was to eliminate the competition. So P.T. Barnum, of all people, it's so crazy that what is his famous saying that there's a sucker born every 10 minutes. Remember that he also took a guy to court because he claimed that this guy was faking having a giant. He's like, this guy has a fake giant, and took him to court. This guy actually got sued, was incarcerated. P.T. Barnum takes this fake giant that he had. It's like, well, I guess I'll take this as my reward. And then he went and then was portraying the same giant as I have a real giant, people. So the whole thing with Mumble, I have mixed feelings about him because I do believe that there was something going on. He did believe what he was doing. And like I said, he had experts coming in and they were like watching him. There was experts coming in to actually watch him and do his techniques, on how he was doing certain things. And I think once that it became really popular, because remember back then, spiritualism was not something that the poor would dwell. It was only for the wealthy because they had money to spend. So once they, so it was only so with the. Sorry, I'm going everywhere now. Maybe I shouldn't have had that coat. All right, guys. I okay. I'm gonna clear something up. I don't like cocaine. I don't like doing it. I just like the way it smells. Anyways, so so once that they saw a business, like, okay, we can actually make money, then is where we begin to see the more exaggerated photographs. I mean, after like later, we're like, okay, now, so maybe in the beginning he wasn't a fraud, but then later in life, once his wife kind of like took over all these damn women, I'm telling you, once these women took over dishwashers, then it became like a legit business, and she was more boisterous, and she would actually go and become a barker for spirit photography. And in that era, it was so interesting because you had the Fox sisters, and all these kind of people. Spiritualism became really popular because in that era, everything was just so dark, and it was almost like people had almost no hope. The Civil War and all that kind of stuff, the rumors of the Civil War, the big crop failure of 1830 and all that kind of stuff. And then spiritualism went on the rise because it gave people a type of hope. And then with all of these uh, this new spiritualist and all these kind of new movements, it gave people a new hope, but it also gave people an opportunity to make money. So, anyways,
Yep, there's a lot of money on the table when you can claim you can talk to the dead and prove it somehow.
that's what I do. I sit down with Joe Biden, and I'm like, I'm kidding, guys. I'm kidding.
So, the whole mumler thing. So when Mumler was doing his photographs, and we can share the picture of him with his supposed cousin behind him, and this is the image, I guess, that people are talking about. When Mumler was doing a lot of his photographs, the process had changed to a glass plate. That's how the photos were taken. So if you didn't properly clean the glass plate, it would have the image of the last picture you had taken on it. But how would you know that somebody would come in and you'd keep the plate of their cousin and then file it away somewhere? It's glass. You know what I mean? It wasn't a negative, like a 35 millimeter negative. So I can see spirit photography if it's not related and you say, oh, look, there's a spirit behind you. Okay, that's one thing, because then it's the image on the glass plate. But when it's somebody who is your relative showing up in an image, that would be a little harder to fake. And unless, I guess, you took a photo of the glass plate and then superimposed two glass plates together, I guess maybe they could do that.
Well, and here's another thing is a lot of these things where people are like, well, this is how it could have been fake. Like a lot of people are saying maybe he just had a lot of different plates with like a lot of different people, but then those plates were expensive.
Very expensive, and how would you keep them?
How
They
would you?
traveled.
Yep.
These guys traveled.
Yeah, it's not like you're like, oh, get
Well,
me
there was also corpse photography back in the day.
But that's
during the same time.
That's a little different than what with the spirit photography. So
well, this is just how my brain thinks, is that maybe his cousin that passed, they took a photo of her propped up or something like that.
Yeah, but
and
then
someone got the negative, got the picture, put it on a negative.
Now this is another one that was allegedly not faked. This was, but it's so hard to. Now here's my point. If this gal's not related to the gentleman in the photo, you know what I'm saying? then you'd say, oh yeah, that's a spirit. Then you're saying, okay, it's a negative. That's a glass plate that wasn't clean.
Can you make that a little bit bigger? That looks like the guy in the Pringles packet, like got himself like a mail order Eskimo hooker.
But Is that better? I don't know.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
that is the Pringles
Okay,
guy.
but if that's supposed to be maybe his dead wife or his dead sister or whomever,
That's like a lady of the
then
night.
how would you do that? How would you keep these glass plates around forever?
Yeah.
That you wouldn't. You wouldn't. So that's where it's kind of like, okay, I don't see how that can happen. That's where I'm like, how would you do that? Like you said, those plates are really expensive.
Yep.
They're not. Now there's another. Now this one I think I can easily explain because I've seen this done several times, and this is, I believe it's a hair. So, if you get a hair in front of a lens, it will look just like this. And we've done it with experiments.
Where was this
Like
taken?
you get I have no idea.
That looks like
It's just
that looks like the spirit of a stripper, that is still haunting the old club. Yeah, old Mary Nasty. There she is, approaching another stage. It's old Mary Nasty approaching from the grave. Everybody remember to tip your
The
witches and maybe
tough
go.
life in the afterlife.
Yeah, even from the afterlife. Give her some ghost money.
Is it
Jesus,
is it possible that it could have been an insect?
I don't think so. I think more than likely it's a hair.
It's a hair.
It's a hair, or yeah. If you play around with, like, Haywire has long hair, so if she put her hair over the front of a camera lens and took a picture, even with digital, you'll get that illumination off of it, and it'll look wavy. It'll look like it's in motion,
like a wisp. It's like, ooh, look.
Yeah, and it's because the flash from the camera, it's hitting that hair first, and then the rest of the image. And we've done that several times in messing around with stuff on investigations to see if we can recreate things.
Okay, I was gonna say to try to debunk stuff.
Yeah, to debunk it, or like the cameras, 35 millimeter cameras had the neck strap,
Yeah.
so you didn't break them, right? The strap would come across the front of the lens a little bit, and it does the same thing.
Also, like when that crackhead tries to steal your camera and he grabs it and he runs off and he's dragging you behind him, I once tried to become a spirit photographer, but I always just, I just couldn't focus.
There
it is.
I'm going to show you another one.
Give it the old Shooter McGavin.
Okay, so this one here is, let me, if I can get this full size here. Here we go. This, sorry, it takes so much effort to me to figure out all these buttons sometimes.
As long as it's not a sound effect, I'm fine.
I have one that I'm going to play sometime.
No.
Okay, so
how do I say
this photograph was taken by, let's see, in 1872 by Edward Bouguer. No, this one is Sybil Corbett, and this is the Combermere Abbey in Cheshire, England. And you can see the faint outline of a man's head somewhere in here, and I'm trying to think of where it is. I saw it when I was looking at the other day, and now I've lost it again.
That looks like a Klan talent show.
Isn't it by like the lamppost?
That's over here?
Yeah, right. Go lower.
Yeah, I'm not sure. Or is he supposed to be? I don't know. I saw it the other day, and then it's gone. This looks like a face here. Maybe too. I don't know. But this is, you know what? I think you're right. I think it could be this.
What is it?
Oh yeah, look.
You can see his arm.
There's an arm right there. He's sitting in this chair. Boy, he'd be tiny, wouldn't he? Unless that's a really big chair.
Probably a midget.
That'd be a cool
Because it
room
looks
to
like
hang
his
out
arm
in.
and his hand right here. Now, on one investigation, we actually got feet. And that's all we got.
Feet?
Well, that's interesting.
What do you mean?
Yeah, we heard walking, and then we were playing back the cameras, and we actually got, they're very misty looking feet walking through a gym. So that's all we got. None of the legs.
Was there like an EVP attached to it? Like for $5, you get to see more of
Yeah,
these
right.
feet.
Oh, jeez.
And,
No.
and I'm like, take my wallet. Show me those gross Paul Bunyan feet. I want to.
Only spooks.
Yeah.
So there
That's
was
dangerous. Don't
William
say
Hope.
that.
He was one of the famous photographers of the time.
What?
William Hope, you've heard of him. He was and he was doing a lot of this spirit photography. And actually, Sir Arthur Conan Doyle, you
Yeah.
know who that is.
Yeah.
Yeah, he came out against Hope, saying that this was all a fraud and testified against him. So, and basically, it really wasn't until Houdini came out and he debunked a lot of this stuff that it finally fell away. Around 1920, Houdini's like, "Look, this is all a hoax."
Yeah. Damn Houdini. Yeah, but remember that he had
Yeah,
he had a code that he was gonna tell his wife when he died. That way she knows that it's really him. It's probably like
yeah.
punch me in the stomach.
Yeah, Houdini was pretty famous for towards the end of his life, of going from city to city and debunking all
Yeah,
these
just
people that claim to speak with spirits and whatnot.
ruining everybody's fun. I mean, I'm glad he's dead.
Oh my God.
He was here for a little bit.
What?
Yeah, Houdini spent some time in my city for a little bit.
Of course he did. That's why he's
Way back
dead.
when.
They took care of him.
Yeah, probably. I wouldn't doubt it.
Yeah. Hey, man, come on. That went from funny to hurtful.
Okay, wait a minute. Houdini was in Pocatello?
Yeah.
What?
What was he doing in Pocatello besides gambling?
Red light
I don't know.
district.
Was he at the Chief Theater doing
Oh.
something or something? Because I know that there was a lot of famous people came to the Chief Theater.
I have to look into it, but I knew he stayed here for a little bit. He's probably going back to wherever.
Wherever the hell he came from.
This is a major stop for Yellowstone National Park.
Yeah, that's true. So, yeah, maybe he was going to Jackson or something, and he stopped through. But the spirit photography, it's interesting. So now I look at everything very jaded, and I have always. When another paranormal group shares their photographs, right? You're like, how do they fake that? And it's a terrible habit because we don't fake anything, and I know they're looking at our stuff the same way because they're so easy to fake stuff, and we try so hard to debunk stuff, but it's just the nature of the game, I guess.
I mean, look at this show. The show's fake. I'm not really here.
I think it's healthy to have that, though. Like,
what, me on
as
the
long
show?
as you're not calling out other people, saying, "Hey, like this is definitely fake." Like you should be looking at it from the scientific point.
I do that. Zach Baggins, I'm coming for you, Scooby Douche. So I almost brought in this picture but then I couldn't get it. It's like, well, I don't know where it's at. So it was a picture, an old photograph of my older brother and my uncle that had died like a couple years beforehand, and my brother's probably doing something stupid. So he's little, so he's probably doing something really dumb. And so he's like in the center of the picture, and if you look in the corner of the picture, you can see clearly like his face. It's kind of faded out, but you can see his face, and people are be like, well, maybe it just got double exposed, or anything like that. It was like, well, he wasn't in that roll of film, because he had died years ago. So it was just one of those things where it's like you look at it and it's very eerie. I don't know like what the explanation is, but when I ask questions and they're like, no, he wasn't in any of these photos or on this film, because remember, guys, back then it was a film. You would take pictures and you go,
yep.
For those of you.
It was 12, 24, 36 exposures, so it was.
Yeah. I'm old.
You're not as old as me, so we had the Polaroids, right? And so I was going to try to find some of the I don't know, a lot of the stuff was scrubbed and I can't find it, but there is a story of this house in Hollywood, I think, where these guys were taking these Polaroids. And when when you take a Polaroid, right, it comes shooting out of the camera, and it's got the developing agent on the picture. And then after you wait like 90 seconds and you pull it apart, and then you have a picture, right? And so they would do that, and then they'd pull the picture apart, and there would be writing that had been on the wall that would say somebody's name or something like that. And so I'm trying to figure out, like, how would you fake that? And I think the only thing I can think of is you can open the Polaroid package.
Yeah.
It's plastic. And if you opened it up and you took a ballpoint pen and you wrote something on that, so it was pressed hard enough for the image to go through onto the picture as it's developing, because the lettering was always in white.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, so I think if they pressed hard enough, what it did was it screwed up the actual photo.
Yeah.
So that the ink, the developing agent, couldn't get over the top.
Couldn't latch on.
Yeah, like it wouldn't laminate on there or something. They said they didn't do it, and I saw news clips where it looked like it was all on the up and up, but I'm still thinking, look, this is fake.
It was
this
something
is fake.
fake.
I
I would have written like racist things.
I forget what they did. They wrote all kinds of stuff like, this is how we found who owned the house before us, and this kind of crap. So anyway.
Gonna get us canceled, Decon.
Oh, damn
I know,
it.
he's gonna get us banned from YouTube forever.
Oh, jeez, who cares? We'll just go to Patreon. Well, if we're off YouTube, we'll film in your mom's house.
That's right.
It's just, yeah, it's just so.
Anyway.
It's just so nuts. So, have you guys heard of the Fox sisters?
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
No, Haywire has not heard of the Fox sisters. Okay, please leave the room. Thank you. Anyways, guys, the Fox sisters were great. So now that we got the intruder out, you know what's so. I've heard like many story. Haywire, you can come back. I was kidding.
I don't want to.
I was kidding. Oh, there we go. There we go. This was an excellent show, guys. Thanks for stopping by, and remember, guys, to always look for. So the Fox sisters. I mean, they did the knockings, right? Like, oh, the knockings on the table.
They did a lot of knockings,
and they're like, somebody in this house.
There were seances, didn't they?
Yes.
They did a lot of seances.
Yeah, they were the one of the first to like openly have seances where it's like, hey, you come here, we have a it's going, because back then, if they saw that you were doing seances, like, holy shit, like Abraham Lincoln's wife, she was nuts, and everybody treated her like she was crazy, and they were medicating her with mercury, guys. They were making her mercury to help her.
So she was crazy.
Yeah. So, anyways.
Mad Hatter's disease, right?
Yeah, she had something. She had like woman's disease, mitral. Anyways, so the Fox sisters, they said that there was a man that was murdered in their home. A man that was murdered in their home, and that he was communicating with them first by knocking on the wall, right? He was like knocking on the walls. It's like, knock 2 for whatever the hell it was, whatever, I don't know, something 1840s. So they were saying this man was murdered, whatever, in their home, and he was talking to them. So then they realized that they had special abilities. So they were bringing people in, and they were doing all these seances. And later, one of them ended up like saying how they did it, and I guess that they were like cracking their knuckles, cracking their knees.
Nope.
Doing the.
She had the ability to. Because this is how they didn't get caught, is that she could take her ankle and twist it in a way where it would pop. Really?
Yeah.
Yep.
Kind of like my jaw.
I do that. I can pop my ankle.
You can pop your.
Yeah, I can pop mine. It's pretty bad. It's pretty loud.
So how many seances do you do?
None.
So they were able to do this with they were able to do this with their ankles. They were able to do this with their knees, with their wrists, but then later, one of the sisters recanted her recant, saying like, "Well, I didn't really mean that. They forced me to do this because I was humiliating whatever the hell it is." So when I look at something like that, I always think either these girls were really, really bored, or part of them maybe were like, I don't know, maybe they believed it, because again, before the spiritual movement took over in that era, if you were telling people that you were communicating with ghosts, people would, not only would they call you crazy, but a lot of the times they would ban you from their stores. They would ban you from doing this. It's actually ruin you. So part of me is like, why would they risk that? Why would they risk humiliation? So I don't know what the fuck. Anyways, another thing that I saw was that some of these people were saying shit like, there's no documentation that a man has ever died in that house. There's no documentation that this man that they said ever existed. I'm like,
There probably wasn't any
there probably
documentation at
wasn't
the time on anything.
on anyone. Like, and I always tell people, if you're Irish, if you're Italian, I want to see the birth certificate of your great grandmother, great great grandmother.
Right.
Go ahead, bring me up. Oh, then I guess you don't exist. You're not really,
Right.
it's dumb. So.
Well, yeah, they didn't have those things, and really the only thing out there, the records, were births and deaths were in church logs.
Yeah,
it was just written in books, and that was it. It was not a certificate.
what our very first official episode was the Icebox murders.
The Icebox murders.
And remember that the father, this was back when banks and the Social Security began to come into play, and he's like, I'm not giving you my damn information. So according to the government, this guy didn't really exist, because he refused to give his information, so they couldn't find him. That's how a lot of people were back then. Even when the consensus would come down, and they would say we're going to take a census, give us your name. A lot of people would give fake names because they didn't trust them, because they came from places where they would round you up.
Yeah,
they would.
Yeah.
And so that I don't know. That was spirit photography, people.
Okay.
So
down another rabbit hole.
Damn rabbit hole.
But I think it's fascinating.
I'm such a
wonder.
loser.
There are some of those photographs out there. There's particularly the one. It's a fairly famous image, and it's never been debunked. And it's of a ghostly woman coming down the stairs. Yeah. Have you seen that one? It's out there everywhere.
Everyone's seen that picture. I don't know
if that's the one that was taken at the Stanley. I'm not sure if that was the Stanley, but I don't think it was. And there's been a lot that's gone through various universities. I guess the original photograph to be looked at to see how if it was faked, and people who are professionals who do this kind of stuff have never been able to debunk that one. That's
And and when I first heard about that, I thought it was going to be like a picture of one of my family members, because the name of the picture is the Brown Lady.
The Brown Lady, yeah, that's what I thought it was.
And I was like, that's
Brown Lady.
I'm like, that's my Aunt Linda. Linda. And they took a picture of her coming down Van Nuys.
Let me show you so our viewers can see what we're talking about. It is a very famous photograph that's out there. The Brown Lady. There she is.
Where?
You see her?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It doesn't say where it was taken?
No. There is a photographer's name down at the bottom of it. But if I can... let's see. I'm not sure. I can't read that. Something, maybe John
something.
Yeah. But anyway, that one has been through various forms of, I guess, yeah. And now all of a sudden you're gone, Decon. So, weird. It screens black for you. We can hear you, but we can't see you. Well, I like this topic. I thought it was pretty cool. We haven't talked about spirit photography, so you're not here. I don't
Did
know
you
what
come
happened.
across the use of X-rays for spirit photography?
Yeah. I can't even imagine how horrifically those people died with radiation bombardment because X-rays were in such. No one knew how dangerous X-rays were when they started doing them.
Yep, no lead vest, no nothing, just
No.
stand there and take it.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh,
Well,
look, you got something in your lung. You're going to die. But due to radiation poisoning, now you're going to die faster. So,
I'm trying to remember who it was. Was it? Oh shoot! I just read this story too, and it was the guy the guy whose face fell off.
Oh.
His whole lower jaw fell off.
oh, that was from, I know
That
what you're
was
talking about.
X-rays, and he. Oh no, they were giving him like a uranium drink or something like that. It was something
Radium.
radium.
Yep. His dog, yeah,
Radium.
radium.
Yeah, it
He
was
was
radium.
tight. He was
He
like
was a
sick and,
weightlifter and all this stuff, and
huh?
he was a weightlifter and a wrestler and all this stuff,
Yeah.
and they
And then
were
he
giving
got
him
sick and
radium,
tired all the time. So his doctor gave him little drops of radium, and that
and it
would
worked
boost
so
it. And
well
that
because
he
it
took
also didn't
more and
boost his
more.
libido as well. And so he's like, hey, so 2 drops is great, 10's better.
Oh
Yep.
no.
And then
And his
eventually,
jaw fell off.
yep, eventually it ate his face.
Oh
He fell
gosh.
off. His whole lower portion of his
Yep.
face fell off, and then he died.
Did he
All the way.
not
Yep.
know anything like happening before?
Oh yeah, he knew something was happening. He
It
didn't
just
know what was
continues.
happening. He knew something was happening, and they're like, "Oh shit!"
Am I back?
Yeah. Too late now.
You're back.
Yes.
You're back.
Okay, I'm back.
Yeah. Same thing. Same thing happened to the ladies that were painting B-52s back
Yeah.
in
Well,
19.
they were paint. My
Yeah.
mom is an artist,
Yeah.
right? So
They would.
they'd always
They have to
put the
paint real fine, so they would paint something. It would dry out. They'd lick it and then dip it
you
back
lick
in.
the brush tip, and they did. It was
Yeah,
the paint.
I eat paint.
Yeah.
Oh, with the lady in the brown lady. Do you remember
Yeah.
the history behind that? Like how he took the? Because people are like, why the hell would he take that photograph? Like, how convenient.
I cannot remember.
I think it was he
You
was with an
remember?
assistant, and an assistant's like, "There's something walking down the damn stairs. Take a picture." And he's like, "What are you talking about? There's nothing on the stairs." So he took the picture anyways, and I think that's how it ended up happening.
Huh.
I thought I heard that.
That's interesting.
I thought I heard that in a bar once.
That actually worked for me back in the day.
What? Hearing some? What?
No, just no. Just okay.
So
So
that's
Hearing
little
stories in a
side
bar?
story. No, a little side story. When I was working at Pocatello High School, we were doing summer cleanup. We were in the auditorium, and this is way back. This is way back when flip phones weren't that great, but you could still get a picture.
Mm-hmm.
And my friend was like, "Hey, how much will you give me
Oh,
if I
jeez.
get a picture of a ghost
Oh,
in here?" And I'm like, I'll give you $1. And she's like, "Where should I take the photo?" And I'm like, "I don't know. Just spin around and take a snapshot." So she did, and she caught what it looked like. What it looked like was a mist jumping over the balcony and going down into the auditorium, the main part. It was the weirdest thing ever. But we don't have it anymore because no memory cards, no internet.
The way she goes.
yeah. I thought that story was gonna go completely different.
So the brown lady she's the brown lady of Rynham Hall. She was the ghost. It's the ghost of Dorothy Walpole, who was alive from 1686 to 1726. And apparently, she wasn't always really friendly.
Oh.
And so a lot of guests had seen her approaching bedrooms
Oh.
and floating, like in the hall in this manor house, and so they wanted to get a photograph of her. So apparently they kept trying till they got her.
Oh,
So
okay, that was a complete different stuff.
wants to be
See, don't
interested.
trust bar knowledge.
Yeah, bar knowledge
Bar
is
knowledge.
usually
She was a miserable lady, so of course she was walking into people's rooms on her honeymoon, trying to
She's
ruin
called the
every.
brown lady because when people saw her, they said that her dress was brown.
Oh,
Was brown.
I thought it was because she was like cleaning or something.
No, no. So, well, very cool. I thought this was a neat topic.
Yeah.
Yes.
So, before we wrap things up here, yeah, I'm waving a knife like I'm threatening all of you. Before we wrap things up, we're gonna do a Patreon coming soon.
Coming soon. Dun, dun,
Stay
dun.
tuned. I almost made a dirty joke. Yeah. What is it? So on the Patreon, okay, guys, come on, can you be serious for once?
Yeah, really.
We're trying to
take it down a notch.
We're trying to spread knowledge on the show. We're trying to. I'm sorry. What's funny?
Knowledge.
We're trying to spread.
Okay.
We're trying. All right. You know what? Never mind. I'm just gonna say it. Fuck it. You know what? Good night, everybody.
No, I think the Patreon channel is going to be really cool because there's a lot of stuff we can do on there we can't do on YouTube.
Yep. Like, say what I just said. No. No. What we're thinking is we can like do like a more of the gorier cases. We can actually be like more free to not be like, oh, don't say this because
don't say this, don't say that. We'll get censored.
The communists. So we'll be like more free to do things. We can have like different programs too. I can even do like a conspiracy hour where I sit there, not even an hour, like maybe 30 minutes.
Yeah, an hour of you. Yeah. That would be.
Yeah, that'd be kind of rough.
No,
Especially if I. Okay. Yeah, why?
We all love you. We love you.
Yeah, I can tell. I can tell because of the large amount of disrespect I'm getting right now. So I mean, and it would be like it'll be tears. Right now, I'm gonna be in tears because I'm so frustrated. It'll be like in tears, like you can do like the $1 to whatever the hell it is. You know, it's like for $10, I'll do conspiracies without a shirt on. Anyways, no, I'm kidding. So we can even have like our own like break off, like do different. It's so much we could. The point is, it's gonna be awesome. There's gonna be different things.
Yeah.
I mean, I could even cook. Like, I'll show you guys how to prepare something. You know, like all kinds of. You just don't know. I'll even ruin somebody's yard sale. You don't know. So just yeah.
I think it'll be a lot of fun.
Yeah.
We have a lot of ideas. We're gonna test things out. I think we're gonna have a lot of fun on it.
Yeah. So
and it won't necessarily be all of us four every time. We're gonna mix it up. We're just gonna do a bunch of stuff.
We're gonna mix it up. So anyways, yeah, that's something that we're going to do pretty soon. I don't know how soon. Who cares? Anyways, so we're gonna do pretty soon. So just stay tuned for that, guys. Also, like and subscribe. Tell people about this show. Like that guy that flipped you off this morning. Follow him home. You know, definitely follow him home.
Leave a note on his windshield.
Kicking his door, walk in, show him the episode and be like, hey.
Spray painted on his garage.
Yeah.
Force him to hit the like button.
Yeah, like hit this like button to subscribe. Write racist things and take a Polaroid on it, of it, you know. I'm kidding. Don't do any of those things. I don't want to be liable for. We should definitely have that button where it's like Mark and he's like the views and express, you know, whatever.
I have it. I just haven't uploaded it.
Oh well.
And we have an email now. It's nightmareroadshow@gmail. And if you have ideas for shows, topics you want us to cover, if you want to be a guest on our show, drop us a line. Let us know what your topic is.
Do that.
So
yeah, if you have any hate mail, send us some hate mail.
Send us some hate mail. We'd love to see it.
Who cares? So anyways, guys, so yes, we'll do that. Stay tuned. It's gonna be good stuff. Head over to the podcast merchandise, buy something for your grandmother that's dying, get her some sexy underwear, um, all those kind of things. I should start designing some. Can you
That
imagine?
is a Nightmare Road granny panties for
Uh,
decon.
okay, okay. You know what, man? Like this is, I'm, I'm
I'm
trying to help us here, and you're over here. You're undermining me in front of the audience. How dare I? I've
I
always
couldn't
told
help
you
it.
not in front of the audience. You can undermine me when they're not around, and you're over here undermining me, and it's disrespectful, and it hurts my feelings. I am a person. I am not a piece of meat. How dare you?
Nightmare Road leggings would be cool though, with
Oh,
all the
yeah.
graphics on them. I
Yeah,
like that.
my face like right on your crotch.
Maybe not that. Just saying.
Okay. Anyways, guys, let's be. Can we be? Can we be? Could you stop? Why? Can I ask you guys? Can I ask you guys a serious question? This is gonna be serious. Okay. Can I ask? Can I please? Can I please ask you guys a serious question? Why am I here? Why am I here? Why am I wasting my time trying to
Because
do
you're fun.
and educate? Like, okay, see, there you go again. I'm trying to provide an entertaining show that would educate the kids, and maybe one day we'll be on PBS right behind Reading Rainbow. Okay, all right. You know what? You know what? This is. I wish there was vodka in this. Anyways, guys. Okay, I'm just gonna end the show. All right. Since you guys are not cooperating, you guys are making me look stupid. Um, I'm not a clown. I'm not here for your amusement. I'm here to help you with the show, and you guys are treating me like this. You're treating me, and I'm tired. I'm not the maid. If we were playing the Brady Bunch, I'm not Alice. Anyways, um, okay. All seriousness,
Knock it off.
like it, like and subscribe, guys, and remember to.
Yeah.
Are you done? Okay. All right. If you, I'm just. All right. Anyways, good night, guys. Um, remember, I didn't even say it. What are you doing, Haywire?
I'm just
Get,
exiting out how I know.
yeah, but I didn't even say it. People are gonna.
Well, say
What if we have new viewers and they walk into this and they think that this is the show and they're like, it's just three people.
What if they
It's
came
just
right when Dirty Birdie said granny panties?
so exactly, exactly. Is this where you want to? Is this where you want to be where Jesus comes back?
You'd probably be
Abusing,
laughing too.
abusing decon. Like seriously, they're gonna think that this is a show where three people abuse mentally and emotionally decon who is trying his hardest. You know what? And my mother probably watches this show and she's like, see, I knew that he would never amount to anything, and you guys are proving her correct. And for those of you out there that watch this and they're like, oh, you know what, I could do that job, but you know what, guess what, you can. I'm drunk half the time. So anyways, guys, remember to always look both ways if you find yourselves on Nightmare Road. Whatever. The end.